The number one regret that people had, people who were dying, who knew that they were crossing over and making their transition, the top regret was, I wish I'd have had the courage to live the life that I knew I was destined to live. In other words, that I had a purpose, that I knew that there was something greater that I came here to do, that I signed up for something other than just to fit in and to go along and to follow somebody else's rules.
There's so many individuals out there that are so talented in different things and never accomplish anything. The world is filled with talented people, and they never accomplish anything. The body has limitations, the mind does not. We focus so much on what goes on from the neck down that we forget it all starts from here. If you're not mentally ready, you're never really physically prepared.
Why most people never achieve their goals while 2 or 3% really achieve a high level of success?
Ignorance. The most violent element of society is ignorance. Ignorance is the key to everything, because everything comes from ignorance. What we will challenge, what we will accept, what we will respond to, what we will ignore, all comes from ignorance. What we will support and what we won't.
We have in every cell, we have about 100,000 chemical reactions per second. If I say 21, 22, in every of your cells there happened 100,000 chemical reactions. And nobody can tell you who is responsible for that chemical reaction takes place just at the right time and on the right position.
A human body has 100 trillion cells, which is more than all the stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Each cell performs about 100,000 activities every second. You multiply 100 trillion cells by every second, 100,000 activities every second. That's quantum computation. No physical structure can do that.
In your body right now, the organization that's going on every second is like so remarkable. There's like 100 billion chemical changes occurring per second. There's like DNA, so that if I took all your DNA and unraveled it, like when you pull on the thread of a sweater, and I unraveled it and pulled it out of you, what's contained in you right now, I could wrap around the world 5 million times. I can go from the sun to Pluto and back to the sun and back to Pluto and back to the sun, back to Pluto and back to the sun with your DNA. And it's functioning perfectly well. It knows exactly what it's doing. It's not confused at any moment, because if it were, even for a few instants, it would be a really bad day. Really, really bad. Very quickly. But it's highly organized, and really in science today, both in physics and in biology, there is no explanation for this.
is that every cell essentially has the same functions that are in your human body. Most every cell in your body has a respiratory system, a digestive system, a nervous system, a reproductive system. Almost every cell has an immune system. Why is this relevant? Because in truth, a cell is an equivalent of a miniature human being. And so that when I talk about the lives of a cell, I'm talking about the lives of us as well, because we're made out of cells. We can only do what cells can do. And therefore, if we know how cells work, then we know how we work.
Today, powerful technologies reveal elaborate microscopic worlds. Worlds so small that a thimbleful of cultured liquid can contain more than 4 billion single-cell bacteria, each packed with circuits, assembly instructions, and miniature machines, the complexity of which Charles Darwin could never have imagined.
At the very basis of life, where molecules and cells run the show, we've discovered machines, literally molecular machines. There are little molecular trucks that carry supplies from one end of the cell to the other. There are machines which capture the energy from sunlight and turn it into usable energy.
There are as many molecular machines in the human body as there are functions that the body has to do. So if you think about hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, feeling, blood clotting, respiratory action, the immune response, all of those require a host of machines.
When we look at these machines, we ask ourselves, where do they come from? And the standard answer, Darwinian evolution, is very inadequate in my view.
And so what I'm about to show you is an accurate representation of the actual DNA replication machine that's occurring right now inside your body, at least 2002 biology. So DNA is entering the production line from the left-hand side, and it hits this collection, this miniature biochemical machines that are pulling apart the DNA strand and making an exact copy. So DNA comes in and hits this blue donut-shaped structure, and it's ripped apart into its two strands. One strand can be copied directly, and it can be seen spooling off down to the bottom there. But things aren't so simple for the other strand because it must be copied backwards. So it's thrown out repeatedly in these loops and copied one section at a time, creating two new DNA molecules. Now, you have billions of this machine right now whirring away inside you, copying your DNA with exquisite fidelity. It's an accurate representation, and it's pretty much at the correct speed for what it's occurring inside you, but I've left out error correction and a bunch of other things. This was work from a number of years ago. Thank you. We've been studying this thing called the kinetochore for over 100 years with intense study, and we're still just beginning to discover what it's all about. It is made up of about 200 different types of proteins, thousands of proteins in total. It is a signal broadcasting system. It broadcasts through chemical signals, telling the rest of the cell when it's ready, when it feels that everything is aligned and ready to go for the separation of the chromosomes. It is able to couple onto the growing and shrinking microtubules. It's transiently, it's involved with the growing of the microtubules, and it's able to transiently couple onto them. It's also a tension sensing system. It's able to feel when the cell is ready, when the chromosome is correctly positioned. It's turning green here because it feels that everything is just right. And you'll see that there's one little last bit that's still remaining red. And it's walked away down the microtubules. That is the signal broadcasting system sending out the stop signal, and it's walked away. I mean, it's that mechanical. It's molecular clockwork. This is how you work at the molecular scale. So with a little bit of molecular eye candy, we've got kinesins, which are the orange ones. They're little molecular courier molecules walking one way. And here are the dynein. They're carrying that broadcasting system, and they've got their long legs so they can step around obstacles and so on. So again, this is all derived accurately from the science.
Now, if we call it this mystical intelligence, a spiritual intelligence, there's really nothing mystical about it at all. You see, it's the same intelligence right now that's keeping your heart beating. Your heart beats 2 gallons of blood every minute, over 100 gallons of blood every hour. It beats 100,000 times in one day, 40 million times a year, and over 3 billion times in one lifetime. It pumps consistently without you consciously thinking about it. Now, if we think about it, there's some order, there's some intelligence that's giving us life, that's keeping our heart beating. It's the same intelligence that's digesting our food, breaking down food into gases and nutrients, and taking that food and organizing it to repair the body. All of that's taking place without us consciously thinking about it.
And you can break yourself free from your hereditary patterns, cultural codes, social beliefs, and prove once and for all that the power within you is greater than the power that's in the world. Are there any limits to this? Absolutely not. We are unlimited beings. We have no ceiling. The capabilities and the talents and the gifts and the power that is within every single individual on this planet is unlimited.
We're really now moving into a new era. It's the era where the last frontier is not space, as Star Trek would say, but it's going to be mind.
I see a future of unbounded potential, unbounded possibilities. Remember, we're using at most 5% of the potential of the human mind. 100% human potential is the result of proper education. So imagine a world where people were using their full mental and emotional potential. We could go anywhere. We could do anything, achieve anything.